When we see a city building war game, we immediately think, oh well, another pay-to-win game. It is true that in this genre, spending money gives you a really big advantage. But Call of Dragons is actually a lot more free-to-play friendly.
Wait a minute!
Let me give you 6 reasons why that's the case, and after watching the video, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Without further ado, let's go!
Spartan! What is your profession?
Starting with number 1, since this game is just released, it's a fresh game, it's a new game, epic commanders and legendary commanders you get from the gold keys, a pure free-to-play way, are actually extremely strong. Voldir, for example, is like the equivalent of Sun Tzu from Rise of Kingdoms, right? A few years ago, when someone asked about Sun Tzu, we would just say, he's a legendary with purple background. That was the joke. And in this case, Voldir is pretty much the same. And not just Voldir, by the way. Alvin is, in my opinion, really strong. Atheus is really strong. He's very niche because he's specifically a flying hero, but still a good commander. Same goes for Gwenvin, a great archer hero, and also Craig. Really strong and versatile. And if we look at the gold key commanders, let me go to Tavern, Gold Chest. Emrys is a great hero. Nico is amazing. Thea is really good. Velen, in my opinion, one of the best heroes in the game right now. So even the gold key commanders are extremely strong at this stage of the game. And at least for a few years, they will be extremely strong because we experienced the same thing while we playing Rise of Kingdoms. Later in the game, probably months later, we will have better commanders, better heroes. But if you start right now as a free-to-play, you could get a really big advantage with those gold key heroes and very strong epic ones. And on top of these heroes being really strong, if you look at this tiny water drop, this is called stamina. Now what happens in Rise of Kingdoms is, especially in early KVKs, if there is a big whale, what he does is he just joins to an alliance, teleports where the fight is, makes sure that your alliance wins that area, and then joins another alliance and ports to a different location and win that fight as well. But this thing and teleport system in Call of Dragons does actually prevent that, which is amazing. Just like spending action points to attack neutral units, when you attack other people's legions, basically marches, when you garrison a building, or launches/joins a rallied army after leaving your city, this will cost 10 stamina. Stamina recovery speed is 12 per hour, and the maximum stamina is 100 for every single hero. Wait, what? That misclick. Sorry for the interruption. Every single hero, rarity doesn't matter, has 100 stamina. And this prevents high spenders using their extremely stacked commander over and over again. So they have to spread their investments. They also have to use maybe not a full epic march, but at least an epic with a legendary. And the teleportation system works like this. Let's take a look at territorial relocation. It relocates your city to a designated location on the map within alliance territory. Alright, this is the important part. After you join an alliance, you must wait for a certain period of time before you can use this item. Cannot be used when fighting against a rallied army. And the higher your city hall of order is, the longer you need to wait to use your teleportation. So you cannot just join to an alliance and immediately port in the middle of the action and then leave, join another one and port another place. It is not possible because you have to wait. And let me tell you that this is a pretty long wait. So it's not just a few minutes or a few seconds. So in my opinion, reason 1 alone makes this game much more free-to-play friendly compared to similar games, especially Rise of Kingdoms. Reason number 2 is recycle system. This is basically good for anyone regardless of your spending level. But high spenders, they can afford having extra sculptures, they don't care. But free-to-players and low spenders, we were always asking for a system that we can leverage our extra sculptures or the sculptures for commanders that we don't plan to use. And in Call of Dragons, we have that system. If we click on Scrap, we can see a bunch of items. For example, Bakar. I don't plan to use Bakar, so his sculptures, his tokens, for me, they are completely useless. What I can do, I can scrap them. Let's do that real quick. And in return, I can get universal epic tokens. If you need elite hero tokens, you can get these. Legendary medals, aka gold stars, epic medals, and elite medals. And gold keys. So I can make use of anything extra, anything I don't plan to use, and just in return get something that is actually useful for me. We can do the same for artifacts. We can scrap these artifacts that we don't plan to use, and then we can purchase a bunch of artifact keys and dust which is needed to increase the level of your existing artifact. So I can use the useless ones, I can just scrap them, and in return get something useful to work on my actual powerful artifact. And the last one is premium items. This is required to upgrade your watchtower, and this is required to upgrade your castle. And once you're done with them, you can just sell them and get speed ups, resources, boosts, whatever. And this shop refreshes every single week, which is pretty amazing because you will just keep getting constant value, scrapping your useless items, and in return getting things that are actually useful. The next one, in my opinion, is pretty big. You know, high spenders, they don't usually bother with gathering, but in this game, gathering has a huge advantage, especially at the start of the seasons, because with gathering, you can actually increase the level, the XP level of your heroes, not just for your gathering commander, but also for your main commanders. For example, I can send Chaka, he's a gathering hero, I can use him primary and use Voldir as a secondary when I'm gathering. And what happens is, let me go back to reports. Both commanders get ton of XP until we get the daily cap. And you can increase the daily cap. Let's go to talents with the talent that's called Earth's Grace. When a legion finishes gathering resources, the hero receives XP equal 1.2% of the number of resources gathered, up to a maximum 12,000 XP per day. But this is not the only one. Later on you can unlock this and make it go up to 20,000 XP per day. And later on, you can even unlock this and make it go even further. So just by gathering resources, you are not only gathering resources to upgrade your city, train troops, do research, but you are also increasing the level XP of your commanders. And since we have seasons in Call of Dragons, since we get resets, our level of our hero will get resets at the end of the season. This is extremely important, and I think a huge benefit for free-to-plays, low spenders who basically spends a lot of time by farming. The next one on the list probably is the most important one, and it is range combat. Let me show you this in Expedition. Let's just use this guy with pen and use our infantry on the front line. And on the back, we will use Voldir with Lilia. So imagine that we are right now fighting in the open field. This march is a melee march. It is full infantry. You can look at this march like a spender who has infantry unit who can tank the damage. And while they are fighting with the other units, you can easily and safely harass your enemy, kill your enemy from an extremely safe distance. Range combat for free-to-plays and low spenders, a blessing in Call of Dragons. Because instead of head-to-head battles, fighting from a safe distance and taking very minimal damage will help you a ton. And range combat is so authentic, so original, and so unique. You will have a lot of fun while doing that. And speaking of taking minimal damage, in Call of Dragons, healing is actually free. I mean, it is an option. We have resource healing and we have free healing. They both have certain caps, but what you can do, if we go to our notice board, you can actually choose between one of them, resource healing or free healing, and increase the capacity of that type of healing. If you're going to spend a lot of money, definitely go with resource healing because you can heal more. But if not, if you don't want to spend any resources on healing and just fight a little bit more conservative and careful, just go to medic recruitment, and same goes here, healthcare development or medical seminars. You can see the difference with resources. This specific policy will increase my resource healing 3%, but free one is the half, 1.5%, but still not having to spend resources to heal is, I think, quite crazy. And the idea of playing range units and taking less damage will actually matches this free healing so well. So I think this is also, just like range combat, this is also a blessing for free-to-plays and even low spenders. The last one is, it is a personal one, but the feel of usefulness. In my 1093 account, we have a lot of spenders, and I wouldn't even call myself a low spender anymore. I'm like a 30-day gem supply spender, right? And I feel extremely useless. I do. I go to field, I fight a little bit, I die, I reinforce the rallies and garrisons, but that's it. But in this game, since we have the behemoth system and the system is implemented so well, like you actually feel like this doesn't feel like, oh, it's just an event that we have to go through. This is actually fun, engaging, and purposeful. Since they implemented a very nice storyline with PvE elements, on top of open field fighting, rallies, and garrisons, you will feel a lot more useful and a lot more engaged to the game compared to just filling rallies and garrisons like a farm account. Nico, for example, he is a gold key commander, and he's one of the best when it comes to taking down behemoths. So as a free-to-play, you can be extremely useful in behemoth situations. And you pair Nico with Craig, with Gwenvin, you are good to go. You are going to deal ton of damage, and your alliance will appreciate that damage, and you will feel a part of something. You will feel useful. I think this is a feeling. This is not a game mechanic, just like the other 5 things that I mentioned already. But I think this is also extremely important because I really hate that uselessness feeling in Rise of Kingdoms on my 1093 account. On my Jumper account, not yet. I'm not feeling useless yet. But on my main account, unfortunately, that's the case. For more Call of Dragons and of course Rise of Kingdoms videos, make sure to subscribe. And here, if you're a free-to-play, this doesn't concern you, but the best purchases, the best value for money purchases, in my opinion, in Call of Dragons. I see you on that one. Bye.